Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. So it's the last Pens in Use wrap-up of 2024. In fact, I think this might be the last video that I put out for 2024. Here's some of the pens I've been using this week. Join me now, down on the table. We'll take a look at the starting six. I'll give them a ranking. Then I'll look at the pens I've brought in and just give you my thoughts on those. Welcome down to the table. Well, it's hard to believe this is going to be the last time I'm going to be doing one of these videos this year. So December 2024, I called it my festive combos. We started the month with the Jinhao 100 with the Diamine Artic Blast, the HongDian N7 with Diamine Garland, the Nahvalur Key West with Diamine Fortune's Gold, the Ranga Santa with Diamine Tinsel, the Conklin Duragraph with Diamine Yuletide, and the Benu Talisman with Diamine Pick Me Up. So a nice selection of pens, a nice selection of inks. So how do I rank them this month? Some of them have been easy, some of them been hard. One of the easiest choices to make was position number 6. That goes to the Conklin Duragraph. It's been a nightmare of a pen. I think it looks nice. I really love the looks of it. On here we've got that Conklin nib. Beautiful nib. I'd like to say it writes well. When it writes, it does write really well. Problem is, I think it's actually with the feed. But you will write maybe a sentence, maybe a couple of sentences occasionally. Then it runs out of ink. To do this a couple of times, it'll start writing again for another sentence or two. Then the ink runs out. So what I've already tried doing is I've tried changing the feed for another one. Didn't make a difference. Now it could be that two feeds could be playing up. Yep, possible. So what I'm going to do is sometime in the next year, I'm going to order some more Yoho feeds. I might try and get a Nebonite one just to try it in here and see if that makes a difference. I really do believe it's down to the feed. This pen, by the way, is a cartridge converter. You can see I've already cleaned it out. That's how much it was just horrible to use. So for this reason, I'm going to give this position number 6. So that's the Conklin Duragraph. Next up at position number 5. This went to the Nahvalur Key West. It's a nice pen. I love the sparkliness, it really does suit this time of year. It writes well, had no real issues with ink flow. It's a cartridge converter. There we go. See, it's another one I've already cleaned out. We've got that Nahvalur nib there. Why do I mark it down? Well, it is a little bit on the thin side. Yes, I know. I knew that when I went into the month. So it does feel a bit thin. Don't like it posted. It will post, sort of. The other reason for marking it down is the ink. It's just too pale. I was taking some notes during the month with this and it was on a cream paper and the combination of this ink on a cream paper just didn't seem to work very well. I was finding that there were bits that I was not able to read. So let me just move this down. There we go. We get that into the center. So that's a Nahvalur Key West there. So for these reasons, I've decided we go for position number 5. So that's the Nahvalur Key West. Position number 4. This is where we start having to think a little bit. I'm just going to move this down. It'll give you a hint which one or one of two that could be position number 4. So I've started thinking about this. We started to get a bit more difficult in making the choice. Position 4, I've decided to give to the HongDian N7. Absolutely nothing wrong with the pen. It's a piston filling pen. Again, it's been cleaned out. Got a nice nib on it. There we go. There's the HongDian nib. It looks quite nice. The nibs are fine. So that's one of the reasons why I think I've marked it down is I prefer broader nibs and this fine nib. It worked well. It wrote really well. Just not exactly as wide as I would like. The ink's not too bad. We've got this beautiful red sheen coming through. Hopefully the camera picks it up. It's a nice wet writer. The nib, Got some nice feedback coming through. We've got nice tactileness. It's quite comfortable in the hand. There's no flow issues. You know, there's nothing really wrong with it. Purely, it's the nib. Because that nib, although we are seeing some of that red, really hiding that sheen. So for these reasons, and I'm being really petty here with these, aren't I? This comes in at position number 4. So that's a HongDian N7. Just dropping in to interrupt your regular programming. Would you like to help support the channel? If so, please consider joining as a member. As a member, you'll get early access to my videos. I normally upload them a couple of days before they go out, and as soon as they're uploaded, they'll be released to members. There'll also be a shout out at the end of the videos, and then as we get the members coming in, we'll actually chat among ourselves and work out what other perks, what other things you'd like me to add in. You know, would you like maybe a monthly live chat just for members? All down to us. So please, if you can, consider joining the channel. A link will be in the description down below. Position number 3. Just straighten it up. Well, again, might be fairly obvious. Position 3, I'm going to give to the Jinhao 100. This is the white version, and it's got a broad Yoho nib on it. Again, it's another one being cleaned out. I went through a lot of ink this month. The top 2 pens I've filled with ink twice. It's a nice pen though, it's comfortable, I love the size, I love the shape, writes really well, get a nice line from it. I'm being very picky because it certainly wasn't in the same range as the pen that came in at 1 and 2. Again, it's a pen, there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. I love using it. I've normally got a Jinhao 100 inked up all the time. I think at the moment I don't, and it's for the first time for maybe a couple of years. But I am ranking. So this comes in at position number 3. So that's a Jinhao 100. Let's move the page up. And we'll take a look at the pens that are coming in at position 1 and 2. So we've got a choice of 2, haven't we? It's either going to be a Ranga or the Benu Talisman. Which one do you think will come in at position number 2? Why not drop a comment down below which one you think will be? Position number 2. Really had to think hard about this. I love them both, but I have to rank them. Again, this is a rule I've set for myself. I know, sometimes I wish I hadn't. Position number 2, I'm going to give to the Ranga. It's a beautiful pen. Very, very nice. Nice and long, nice and comfortable. Section a bit on the thin side. This one, let me just there. I have still got a little bit, well, I don't have any ink in here anymore. I've literally just finished it 2 days ago, but I thought I won't clean it out just yet. I love the colouring. I love the name. The nib, it's a Yoho 1.1 stub nib. And it's the nib that I'm marking it down because I'm being exceptionally hard. Why I'm marking it down is on some papers, the nib feels like it's catching, especially on the side strokes. Now I know it's a stub nib, and I know I can use some micro mesh to try and just smooth it down, but I don't really want to do that. I don't mind it catching, but for ranking purposes, I've got to try and separate them. The ink, Diamine Tinsel. Beautiful ink. Hopefully you can see there we've got a beautiful, gorgeous, pinkish, like shimmer coming through. Really pretty. But as I say, I'm ranking. So I'm going to rank this at position number 2. So that's the Ranga. So that means that the winning pen can only be the Benu Talisman. I'm just going to move the page up. There we go. With Diamine Pick Me Up. I really like the ink. Let's look at the ink first. It's a brown ink, and I'm not sure if it shows up as well on here, but we get a beautiful green sheen to it. Hopefully that's coming through on the camera. I know it's hard sometimes to capture these. There we go. Hopefully I'm a bit more central now. The pen itself, I know I always describe it as a Christmas coloured pen. It's dragon's blood, but with the green and the red, always reminds me of Christmas. It's another one. It's now out of ink. It needs to be cleaned out. So we've got a cartridge converter there. Like with the Ranga, I filled it twice during the month. That's how much I've enjoyed both these pens. Section still feels teeny tiny little bit on the thin side, but quite usable. Nice length. I love the looks of this. I love the way it catches the light where we've got these facets. The nib, it's a Schmidt nib, and that's a broad nib. Really enjoyed this combo. So this is coming in at position number 1. So it's the Benu Talisman. I'm just going to turn over the page and we'll look at the pens that I brought in as other pens ran out. So here are the pens that I brought in. Only brought in 3 additional pens. You'll have to excuse the letter opener. It's a very hot day at the moment and I've got my desk fan going to try and keep me a little bit cool, but that then means that the paper gets caught in the wind. The first pen I brought in from Faber-Castell and it's the Hexo. I've got to be honest, I don't know why people buy a Safari over this. This is such a nice pen. It's got glorious feedback, the way this nib writes. Yes, I know it's a small looking nib, but it writes beautifully. One of my favourite writing pens for the whole month. It's a cartridge converter. I forgot to order a converter. I'll fix that when I next buy from somewhere which sells them. But all I do is I just use the cartridge that came with it and I just fill that with the ink that I want. And it's a nice long cartridge, so you get a load of ink in there. As you can see, this one's also empty. I've had a good month for emptying pens this month. Nice and comfortable in the hand. There we go. Nice wide section. Nice length. It will post. It posts deeply. It posts really nice. It posts securely. It's not even back heavy. It's very nice posted. But I tend to use my pens unposted. And it's fine like that. As I say, the nib, so nice. Diamine Thunderbolt, that's the ink. Nice blue ink there, which I think goes well with the dark blue of the pen. And at 46 Aussie dollars, you know, it's a bit of a bargain. So that's a Faber-Castell Hexo. Next up, I brought in the Mahjong P139. This is the white version, and this has got a Fude nib on it. It's a short pen, feels quite a chunky pen. It's a piston filler. We've got a nice window there as well, so we can see the ink level. Very wide looking section, and it does feel wide. You can buy a version of this with a number 8 size nib. I got mine with a Fude nib. And there was a number of different sizes of the Fude nib that you could get. So I think I went for the middle one. Beautiful line on there. Really nice, enjoyable to write with. Lots of character come from this. The ink in here, Diamine All the Best. So this is like a dark red ink with a blue shimmer. Hopefully you can see that. And we've also got a sheen coming through. Not sure if I can see the sheen, get that sheen. Maybe a blue sheen as well. It's really nice. I quite enjoy this. And as a combo, I think it works really well together. So that's the Mahjong P139. The final pen I brought in, well, we're taking a bit of a jump in price here. We've also got one of this year's Diamine Inkvent inks in it. This is the Sailor Pro Gear Slim with the 14 karat gold nib. It's a broad nib. $400, awful lot of money, isn't it? I love this. It's called Blue Green Nebula. It's got beautiful teal colour with like silver in there. This pen, like the Mahjong, still got ink in it. So I'm going to be leaving this inked up, although by the look of it, there's not as much ink as I thought. So it might not last that long, but I may fill it with the same ink. I'm really enjoying this combo. The pen is a bit thin. You know, it's the slim version. It posts. I have to use this posted. It's one of the few pens where I do need to use it posted. It's still comfortable though. This section, bit on the thin side as I said. The nib, ooh, this is my favourite nib in all the pens I've got. I absolutely love this. Beautiful, glorious feedback. It's so tactile. It makes you want to write with it. It is very, very nice. The ink, here we go. So Sleigh Ride. So this is a red ink with this beautiful mass of green sheen. It's called an extreme sheen ink, and you can see why. I love this. really do. I'm a green fan as it is, and I just think the way this absolutely pops at you, I'm hoping that the camera's catching this, because to my eye, there we go, hopefully I'm seeing a little bit coming through there on the preview. Very nice. So that's the Sailor Pro Gear Slim. Let's swap on over and fetch in all the pens for one final look. Here we've got the Grinch sleeve, which was my pen sleeve for the month. So the pens, position number 6, that goes to the Conklin All-American. At position number 5, we have the Nahvalur Key West. Let's just pull this down a bit. There we go. Hopefully now we can get them in camera. At position number 4, we've got the HongDian N7. Position number 3, the Jinhao 100. Position 2, the Ranga Santa. And the winning pen, position number 1, the Benu Talisman. My additional pens, we've got a Faber-Castell Hexo. We've got the Mastodon P139. And then last but not least, we've got the Sailor Pro Gear Slim. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What pens have you been using? How have you decided to use them? I know I ask this a lot, but I do find it really interesting how different people choose different pens. You know, we've got some people that may only have 1 or 2 inked up at a time. We've got me, at one time this year, I had about 60 inked up. So yeah, I find it quite interesting. Please drop your comments down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.